feel like sometimes if you have enough money, you just don't make a movie again. Like, is your passion project you sitting at your house? Like, you want to make that movie so badly, but I guess it worked because they got a bunch of, what's it called? Bridge of Spies. Bridge of Spies. Hi, everyone. This is the dance I have. I don't know what that was, but hello. Bridge of Spies, we were just talking about how more and more movies are going to be people not in the same room at all together. And that was one of the first ones I noticed that took me out of being able to watch the movie, is that they're all just these very rich older men who all adamantly refuse to go to a studio in the same space. So they're all just each doing their footage. That's like that, what's it called? Blue Bloods. What's the older guy's name on that show? Selleck, yeah. He shows up to one room. He probably shoots every single one of those scenes in a week, tops, and then he's out. And he's just, I mean, I kind of respect that a little bit. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining me today. Well, Amber's off gallivanting around, not doing her job. Just kidding. Her flight was canceled. And as we all probably would agree, we don't want to push the airlines right now. We need to just take a step back, allow them to do what they need to do. Oh, if flight's canceled? No problem. I say, let's make this a time when we all stop having airport rage, because we are in danger. You know what I mean? So like, it's not fun to throw a tantrum at the airport anymore. Let's do that, because it seems like we all just want to keep everybody nice and calm as we're going through this time period. That's all I'm saying. You're going to be fine. We're not actually going to all crash in airplanes or anything, but I don't like the slight tweak up of odds. You know what I mean? Hi, everyone. Air travel's safe. It is. I will say that we did see, like, maybe like half a year ago, we did almost watch a meltdown at the airport, and it was kind of exciting. Except we didn't think she was on our flight. If she would have been on our flight, it kind of would have sucked. But somebody was getting shut down from ordering more drinks at the bar next to the terminal we were at. And we were all just like, all watching like bated breath. Is it going to be one? Is it going to be one? She was mad. She wanted more drinks, and the lady said no. And I feel like when you're at that level that this woman was, they have to have a button or something. Like, do you think the bartenders at an airport have an emergency button they hit? Like a bank? I feel like they might. Like a silent alarm? Yeah, like to just so alert, like this person cannot get in an airplane now. I think they should if they don't, because that lady was at an 11 already, and that's only going to progress. Even if she stops drinking right there, she's already going to escalate in behavior. And I mean, she can't, what is she going to do? Get on an airplane like that? Anyone have any good meltdowns on airplanes before? Like, seen any? I don't think I've ever actually seen a full one, but that was the closest that I've gotten. Hello. Amber joined Doge. Oh my God. Redage prop. Redage? Red Age prop. That's probably what that says. Amber joined Doge. Yeah, you know, she at least was auditioning for it. I don't know if they'll accept a lady, but she tried. That's where she is. She went to the Capitol, asked if she could speak to Mr. Musk, and we'll see. Maybe live on air, we'll find out if she got in or not. Fatal 22, what cult did Amber join? It's unfortunately the cult of being biologically attached to your family and needing to go see them. You know, that is in its own sense a cult. There's something that draws you back and back, even when it's hurting you. But it's nice to love your family. It's nice to care about them. It's nice to go see them as long as you want. You don't need to also. I think that should be, I think we should all agree on that at this point in time, that if you have a family member who's being hurtful to you or is like they're not owed. You know, we get the boomer generation, I feel like, had that thrust upon them, and so they had to like care for their elders who were just like beating them when they were children. And I think we need to all I think we already are kind of at the point where we're saying, you know, it's not, well, blood's thicker than water. Sometimes it's not. I also don't understand really what that means, but I was on a flight from Madrid to JFK, and two ladies got in a physical fight next to my husband, and I over one of them reclining their chair. Cocoa bean. This is a thing that actually I think divides people, because we've gotten into arguments in our own friend group saying you're an asshole if you recline your seat. I'm on the other side of that saying I'm uncomfortable as it is as a long-limbed person. They make the seat shorter and shorter. I need to go back. We should be mad at the airlines because they're making the seats smaller. If they're going to make the seats recline, then they need to have enough space in each of the fucking seats. The seats are getting, I swear to God, it's like, they're like gang stalking you almost. Like the seats, like, they just move them just a millimeter at a time, and you don't notice. And then suddenly you're like, wait a second, my ass doesn't fit in this chair anymore, and I'm still paying for a full ticket. And it's not because my butt's getting big. So don't even say that. It is really unfortunate that they keep tightening the seats up. But I feel like if the seat reclines, you should be able to recline it. Thank you. Thank you, James. Thank you. I do think that. Imagine being in a metal tube in the sky and thinking I should punch someone right now, biblically accurate horse. Yes. It's hard for me to put my mind in that place, just because all I want to do is be on and off the plane as fast as humanly possible. And the idea of slowing that process down for any reason makes me want to just throw myself out the emergency exit. But I guess some people, they need a stage. And sometimes that stage is when you're being held captive in the sky. And they have an audience. You can't go anywhere. You know, what are you going to do? We all have to look at you. So maybe somebody should have taken some theater classes when they were a kid. That's all I'm saying. I think a lot of people would have maybe tempered some things down if they would have been able to express themselves through art, dance, you know, but now they're taking more of that away. So we'll see how that goes. I'm sure everybody will be less angry. Thanks for the subs. Check Missy Chimichangas 1959 and Hilaire Satan. The proper order of the planes that you fly don't even recline. I mean, it's getting tight in there. Skin tight. And I don't know what we're going to do about it. I don't know how there needs to be a competitive airline that comes in and just says, you get normal sized seats. And I feel like wouldn't that just be the most popular airline? I mean, wouldn't they like still be able to make profit if they were like, go on our planes, the seats are actually human sized in them? Whoa. I feel like so many people, that's all they would literally ask for on flights. Share Force, did you see the video of the woman that made a Glad wrap fort around her plane seat? Yes, I did see that. I also saw somebody being fully taped to a seat. Oh yeah, I saw that. Which I understand there's like a human rights violation issue with that, but also if you're gonna act like that on a plane, you might get taped to a seat. I think that's sort of the contract that you agree to when you get on the flight. Because you really are at an ultimate, you're at the mercy of literally everything when you're in that seat. Which is, again, I know we've talked about Ballerina Farm on this show a bunch of times. Hannah Nealman, Mormon influencer. And that's another thing that separates people. I think I gain a lot of insight when I hear the reaction of this scenario where Hannah's husband courted her after she repeatedly told him no, she wasn't interested in dating him. He used his dad's JetBlue ownership to book the seat next to her in a JetBlue flight that he knew she was taking without her knowledge, trapped her in the seat for 5 hours on a plane to kind of intimidate her into going on a date with him. Because at this point, she had rejected him repeatedly. And I've heard some people, I feel like a lot of times it's an older demographic that says this, that go, can you believe how romantic that is? He just wanted to be with her so badly that he used his connections to get on a plane with her, to really corner her and make sure she can't go anywhere until she agreed to go on that date with him. Oh, love. Nobody's romantic anymore like that. And all I hear is that is the first act of a horror movie. Like, that is, you mean the guy who you've rejected a bunch of times has stalked you to the point where he sits next to you in a thing you cannot leave. One time, I was upgraded to a fucking first class seat, right? And it was like, yeah, fuck yeah, because the flight was really early. I think it was like a 6 a.m. flight. And I was like, yes! Oh, I'm so excited to have room. And I get the window seat that when you get upgraded, they just put you wherever they're gonna put you. And like, yeah. And I was sat next to this man who was still blackout hammered from the night before. Like, he had not gone to bed. I know this because he refused to stop talking to me for the entire 6-hour flight. Shit fit. No matter how many times I did this, no matter how many times I was like, oh, I got work. He'd forget within 10 seconds. The entire flight. And I realized in that moment, I have no recourse. What am I supposed to do here? If I complain, he's gonna see that I just complained. What, the flight attendant's gonna come over and tell him to stop? You think that's gonna lower the situation? No, they're not gonna move him. He's shit-faced. We'll just move this shit-faced man to another person for him to torment somebody else. Who's gonna switch with him? You are literally trapped. So that's all I'm saying. People who find the thing that Hannah Neumann's husband did to her as romantic, I feel like you need to really re-examine what romance is. I think it's like an older school idea of but it's like a very young person thing too, to think, oh, he's so obsessed with me. He just thinks I'm so hot that he just can't stop himself from it. So I don't know why I'm thinking of not The Crow, but that sort of edgy, dark, oh, he's so intense and so smart, and people don't get him, and that's why he just sits outside my window. I mean, I guess I'm talking about Twilight now. I'm talking about Twilight. Always goes back to Twilight. Stalking is so sexy and romantic, Burlington proletariat. Turb 6, I don't even like asking girls out at their jobs, not like they can leave. Wow, look at you being a decent human being. Good job. I appreciate that take. Yeah, it's so weird, but I guess it does also sort of fit into the LDS culture of things, because he also ignored her request to not get married quickly because she wanted to finish. We don't need to talk about Hannah Neumann. I wanted to actually show this at the top because last time we were here was a month ago. And then 2 weeks ago, our last spun, I lost my voice and we couldn't record because I couldn't talk. But the one I last did a month ago, I was talking about this video of a woman worship painting, I guess. I don't know what you call that. That is actually... I don't know. I don't know what to take away from this other than I need you to see it because I had to see it. So come, let's watch it.
Hey Siri, as a kid, I read a lot of stories in the Bible about people falling into idolatry. Can you show me a modern day example of that? What happens when the same people who taught you about the dangers of falling into idolatry as a child then do the very thing they warned you about when you become an adult? I can answer that. You deconstruct your faith and you find a better option. It is incredibly jarring to watch your Sunday school teachers who told you about the story of the Israelites worshiping the golden calf and falling into temptation and idolatry, then reshare videos like that saying, it's amazing how God is using President Trump for his glory. What? In many ways, we didn't leave the church. The church left us.
Guys, you know what? I'm in. I'm all in, baby. It did it. It did it to me. I felt it, and now I'm in. I'm doing all of it. I'm going to the rallies. I'm buying a Cybertruck. I'm doing it. I hope she gets into like a paint worship where she draws a Cybertruck watching Jesus Christ be crucified. Also, the idea that Trump is watching the crucifixion from down there doesn't that mean he's one of the bad guys in that story? That he's just standing watching Jesus be crucified? Doesn't that make him one of the people who put him up there? No, I'm just saying. Also, really cool that he had a suit at that time. Just had a full 80s suit he was wearing at the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. I don't know. What do we do with this? What do we do with this? Also, why is this the international like prayer hands, like the enjoying music? Is it because like you're holding your hands to the clouds like this? What is that? I guess you don't want to do like, or like, I guess it's the most like genteel. It's coming into your hands, into your heart, and out your butt. So yeah, that is a thing, I guess, that God speaks to her through her two different paintbrushes, and she slaps them around. I do wonder if she practices those, or if it really just is freeballing it on the day. I feel like she must practice that. Eric, one of our producers, was talking about he was at a he saw, what do you call it, a paint artist, not an artist, a paint movementer. That was hired for some event he was at, and that he would paint and it would look confusing, and then he'd flip it and it'd be like a picture of, Mount Washington or whatever. And but he practiced, I think she practiced. No hate on that. I can't make that painting on that stage. I couldn't do it. I don't know what we're gonna do, guys. This is where we are. That was a whole room of people who looked at that and went, yes, yep, this feels good. And they did. They felt really safe. They felt really safe and happy in there. Speaking of all of the horrible things happening, I want to give a shout out to, because, we've been talking about Musk a lot, and I will continue to talk about Musk, but our friend Caleb actually works with this Substack with this guy I know from Twitter. I don't actually know how you say his name. Judd Lugum. He's very active on social media, but he's working with him. And if you want to follow everything that's happening, our friend Caleb has been tasked with literally following the movements of Elon Musk every day and recording them for archive. And you can go to muskwatch.com. It'll take you to the Substack. You can see a lot of it without paying, but you can also, of course, subscribe. And he has to log all of the movements every day So we know what's happening in the future, so we can probably look back at what's going on. But it's a very respectable, noble thing he's doing because it's really hard to watch it all. And so shout out to Caleb, and definitely check out muskwatch.com to have somebody else watch the stuff for you so you don't have to necessarily hear the voices. Where are we going today? Where are we going? I would love to talk quickly about a very sad story about a missing case out of Detroit. That it's about these 3 little boys, and this is really kind of something we talk about on the show a lot, the no body kind of cases and how hard they are to prosecute, because when somebody goes missing, we always hope for them to be found alive, but when logically or realistically, they're probably not, and there's a lot of evidence to say that's probably not what's going on there. The person who almost certainly is guilty of those crimes can sometimes slide under the radar because it's just a part of our court system. If they don't have the evidence of the bodies, their lawyers can really fight for them to say, well, you can't prove that they're dead, right? So this is a case from these little boys, the Skelton Brothers. They went missing in 2010. Do you want to pop that article on? So these 3 little babies, and so this was something that happened quite a while ago, and the reason that they went missing is almost certainly because of their father, who was spending time with them it was Black Friday, and it was a tumultuous divorce that was going on. So they were seeing the kids separately, the mother and father, and they disappeared when the mom came back for them, all 3 of them. And the dad completely denies doing anything. They were searched for a long time, and the dad did end up going to jail for other charges based around the kids, because of course, if the kids are just gone, they're not just going to be like, well, I mean, sometimes I guess they do just say, well, we don't know. I mean, we saw that happen before, but in this instance, there was a lot of people fighting for these sons. And so the kids, they can't find them. So they found other charges to give the dad. But because they still have never recovered the bodies, he is due to be released from jail this year. And that's obviously insane and unacceptable. And so then the family is faced with these different options, these choices they have to make, because of course the mother and the family wants to keep holding out hope that they are somewhere, that they are kept somewhere, or they were, even sadly at that point you say, like, maybe they got trafficked out somewhere and they're alive. But in order to keep the father from being free in society, they're trying to petition to get the children declared dead, and trying to use that as a bargaining tool in the court system, so that this guy who just went to jail in 2011 is going to potentially just be freed after most likely murdering his 3 children. So, I mean, 2011 to 2025 for that is crazy. And so that is the challenge with missing cases, and why we talk about them a lot, because they are so unfinished. I think people get really happy and confident and comfortable with a story arc in crime. And I don't think that's evil. I don't think that's wrong. I just think it's human nature sometimes. But with these kind of cases, they don't get to do that. There's no closure on the end of the family. And especially when the court system isn't in their favor, when the person who did the most likely murdering just was really good at hiding the evidence. It's almost like they get rewarded for that. And of course, you need to take evidence into account. You can't just throw people in jail because you're pretty sure But in this kind of case, where he almost certainly did murder these 3 little boys, you know, the family has to make these decisions. And so, you know, we just want to mention it because it is really sad, and hopefully we can keep following this case, and that they can kind of figure out some way to keep him from being on the streets, because regardless of anything else, he's obviously capable of incredibly dangerous things in the first place. Even if for some reason he just sold them or whatever, and they were alive still, he's clearly a very dangerous person who is not well. So yeah, so we're just thinking of that family. And let's see, the prison sentence is supposed to be up November 29th, 2025. He's being held in Michigan. And yeah, so one of his claims is that he gave them to an Amish group, which, you know, I would love for that to be the case. Maybe it is. But now to keep the dad in jail, they're going to have to declare them dead, which is going to be a whole other thing, and also so deeply traumatic for the family to have to do that. Do you want to throw that article back up and just get to the bottom there where the missing posters are with the age progression? There you go. Thank you. So, you know, this is the age progression photos. Doesn't hurt to just look at them, and you never know. Sometimes this sticks in your head and you see something. So yeah, they are Tanner, Alexander, and Andrew, and they would be all teenagers and, you know, growing up towards adulthood. So, you know, we just hope the family gets the closure they need, and that guy stays off the street. So there's that. Yeah, I don't know how to segue out of that because it's horrible. And the next thing we're talking about is so stupid, it makes me want to like rip my hair out off my skull. But this is where we are in the world. Obviously, there is we're filled to the gills with disinformation online, as you're all aware, I'm sure. And so yeah, this is so hard to even. I don't know what to do with this information. I don't know what to do with all this stuff, guys. I don't know what's going to happen to us, but there's this really weird conversion of people who, the extreme crunchy left, and I'm not even shitting on leftists, but the ones who like would normally be in that realm of like hippie mom to extreme right-wing stuff, of course, started touching tips through, QAnon, through like vaccine disinformation, all that stuff. And now we have guys like RFK in charge of stuff for some reason. And I need you to see the video of somebody who he invited to speak before Congress. If you want to play the TikTok there, the Maha.
Why is it sometimes so easy for like some woman on meth in the street to get pregnant and not this woman who's living this non-toxic organic lifestyle?
The fuck is going on?
Yeah, it's super unfair.
This is a Maha person. RFK invited her to speak in front of Congress.
That lady on is not stressed. She's having a blast. She is relaxed. She's not showing up for work at 8 a.m., right? She's actually in her feminine.
So the meth is in her divine feminine. The suburban housewife is stressed to the max, constantly ruminating on getting pregnant.
Just say welfare queen. You know you want to say welfare queen.
Well, the housewife, let's say she doesn't work outside of the house.
How does this even come into your brain?
No time in history were housewives ever alone. We're not meant to be alone. Women are meant to all be together, like hens.
Get the fuck...
Let's all get on meth, everyone. Let's do that. I think that we are... am I on meth? Oh, no. Can you guys hear this happening? Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, merrily, merrily. Oh, I was doing it. That was hard to actually figure out in my brain how to do that math. So that lady, is suggesting that a person who is on the streets addicted to meth is living in her divine feminine and is not stressed. And she is giving health advice at the top levels of the country. So I feel like I don't need to explain to you why this is making me feel like I'm going to throw up. But that woman, her name is Mary Ruddick. And apparently being on the streets is how you become pregnant and live in your divine feminine. Even though in the same, this isn't just like, oh, this is taken out of context. She's normally really smart. No, I've listened to a lot of her speaking now, and everything she says is about at this level. And I mean, in the same interview, she's talking about how bad potatoes are for, for your fertility and for, for your body to thrive. What do you think a person addicted to meth is eating? Do you think that they're filling their bodies with kale and ancient grains? But you're like, oh no, if you want to get pregnant, don't eat potatoes. It's the worst thing. It's the worst thing you can eat. What is wrong with you? That woman has never... The idea that you are on the street chillaxing and you're not stressed because you don't have to get up for work, as though it's just this idea of being like, I don't feel like working. I'm just gonna go smoke some meth. Oh, this is awesome. Woo! Why doesn't everybody do this? I just don't feel like working like that very hardworking Mary Ruddick. I mean, it's so condescending. I'm almost envious. I am almost envious of being that level of detached and delusional and confident in your, the words you say. She has never questioned a single thing that has come out of her mouth. And that must be so peaceful to just, everything she says, she just has like a little applause machine in the back of her mind that's just always going, being like, wow, Mary, how did you come up with it? How did you do that? Another one today, Ruddick. Good job. Fuck you so hard, you fucking cunt. I'm sorry, but the idea that you are on the street because you're just being lazy is so disgusting. And that you're just relaxing. You're out there relaxing. You have never spent a moment of your life suffering. You have never spent a moment of your life uncomfortable. Have you spent a single night without a bed? Because I've spent months without a fucking place to sleep, and the idea that you're like, this is when my fertility is going to be at its highest because I'm just like vibing. I'm just like one with the earth. This lady also calls herself an ancestral nutritionist. You're not going to believe this, but a bunch of the stuff on her website is just about like her appropriating culture and then saying it's spiritual and then also condescending to people who may or may not be from those cultures. She has a bachelor's degree from Kent State University. And I was looking up her credentials because I'm just like curious now that she's giving advice to the people of America. So she's got a bachelor's from Kent State with nutritional stuff, like a nutrition bachelor's or whatever. And then on her website, she's listed post-grad nutritional certification from Trinity University. And I was looking that up, and there's a Trinity University. And I was like, do they have she's calling herself, she has what does she call it? A post-grad nutritional certification from Trinity University. I was like, that doesn't sound like a thing that you do in university. And so I was like, do they have this program at Trinity University, which I believe is in Texas? And when I put in that certification, another thing came up called Trinity School of Natural Health, which most certainly is where she got whatever this thing is. I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure, for example, the programs you can take at Trinity School of Natural Health are certified biblical coach, certified facial analysis master, certified flower essence specialist, certified naturopath, certified holistic fitness specialist. This is all to say, I don't know, but is this school, this cannot be an accredited school, right? There's no way. Trinity School of Natural Health. It sounds like LPN School of Farts is like where she got her certification from. So she's also, if she got a certification here, she's also kind of not being truthful on her website about where it came from, because Trinity University is not the same thing as Trinity School of Natural Health. Just saying. I could be wrong, but it seems like maybe she got it from Trinity School of Natural Health. So that is who is in charge of health now. I mean, she's not in charge, but she's talking to all the guys at the top, telling them what to do. And she also, and on her LinkedIn, the first sentence is, dubbed the Sherlock Holmes of health for her unique ability to expeditiously assess misspelled, and remediate rare neuromuscular conditions that have others have deemed impossible. Mary Ruddick is a seasoned researcher, educator, ancestral nutritionist, entrepreneur, and philanthropist. I don't know if anybody actually dubbed her that, or she just called herself that and then put it in her LinkedIn. I dubbed myself the queen of hot bitches, so, I should put that at the top of mine. So that is something I just feel like we need to keep in mind when we are looking at leadership right now in the country. And I know that this isn't always a political show, but I do just feel like it's very important to a lot of the topics we cover, especially as we get into the season. Is this Goop University? I mean, I feel like Goop University might actually have more credible teachers. That's not saying much, but El Condor passes 69. Yeah, especially as we're about to get into a lot of the government aspects of the LDS Church and how they are connected to the people running the country and what that means for us. I know I've already said this, but we'll talk about it more in the proper show. But the CEO of Neuralink is an active LDS member. The CEO of Neuralink, who runs the entire company, who met Musk on Wall Street. So just important to remember things like that. Hilaire Sainton, I know the government was trying to keep me off meth. Thank goodness for RFK. Yes. Oh, you knew the government was. Yeah. I know. I feel like we're going to get to that point with that sort of weird, like crunchy, it's like appropriation health person they're going to go all the way around and be like, you actually should smoke meth. You should smoke meth. Because she's kind of getting on that a little bit. It's like getting close to it. Yeah, the Irish, known for only eating potatoes, had never had large families, lost in houseplants. I know. It's crazy. She has a lot of really good things to say, let me tell you. It's great. It's great. It's great. It's great. It's great. I don't know what else to say, because I feel like I'm a little bit on crazy pills, so maybe that's the problem. She also, guess what, doesn't like medication. You're not going to believe that. So women thrive on meth to have babies, but meth for ADHD, straight to the camps. Yeah, I know, exactly. Cade de Fuji-Marie, I know, exactly. It's just, it kind of is just... it's so contrarian that they don't care. Like they'll tell you, they're gonna say stuff like that. I know it's gonna start happening. I know they're gonna be like, well, we don't want we don't want people on medications that like save their lives, but like everybody should be doing ayahuasca all the time. And yeah, we are appropriating and we're like taking resources away, and it's like not good for the earth for everybody to do that. But fuck you, because you don't, that's different than what you like, and that's what we want, different than you, which is really where we're at. It's just pure contrarianism. But yes, Red Age Prop, I did know any anti-vaxxers call themselves purebloods, and it makes me sad because the level of the inability to discern TV shows from real life at that point is so abundantly clear that you think you're cosplaying, like you think you're doing a thing, like you're wizards, by the way, we're the bad guys in the Harry Potter there. But they're like cosplaying, and they think that this is just a fun group to be with. And we're just taking more education away, so it's gonna get worse probably. Or counterpoint, makes learning cool, right? Learning's cool because when it's taken from you, it's not actually funny, because that's actually what happens in a lot of places where they don't want to teach kids. They do have to do it secretly, and then they become really smart because they want to learn. But we just got to find the little sun spots there. That's not what that is. The little rays of sunshine. That's actually something I do feel about the banned books. The whole banned book situation. I think that just makes them sound cooler, and people are going to want to read more. So I guess good job on that. Yeah. Biblically accurate horse. Some of the pureblood anti-vaxxers are trying to use social media to match their teen and young adults with other pureblood partners. That's weird. I've never, where have I heard that before? Trying to do genetically perfect babies. Where have I heard that? Beyond the idea of that, yeah, I mean, they're putting people together who don't have immunity against diseases, so they're going to die off. But good. I feel bad for the kids. I will say that. I feel bad for the children. That really sucks. It really sucks that they're in that position. We have a friend who just got a bunch of their vaccines as an adult because they didn't get vaccinated as a kid and weren't necessarily focused on it. But now that we're getting these, now that we have people in the government kind of encouraging people to not vaccinate people, they're like, oh no, I got to do this now just because I don't know if I will be safe anymore. Because if you're the only unvaccinated person in a world of vaccinated people, you're not really super at risk for a lot of things, but it's starting to become not the case. So, yeah, so there's that's what's going on over there. I do want to, I'm blabbing away. Oh my God, are we already almost done? I just talked straight through for almost an hour. I want to talk briefly. Has everyone seen the Ruby Franke documentary? I assume if you watch our show or listen to our show, you are interested in some aspect of the Franke legacy, the LDS portion or the vlogging portion. But I don't know what you guys thought about it. What did you think? I actually thought they did a pretty decent job. I think some people were I think if they're not super familiar with the entire story, they felt as though the filmmakers let Kevin Franke off easy. And I can see that. I can see that viewpoint. But actually, I think they kind of allowed him to speak for himself, basically shoot himself in the foot. Because they did, to work with the family, they couldn't be too antagonistic with him, but they did allow him to just speak, and it tells a story. I'm obviously a hater. If Kevin Franke has 0 haters, I've died. I will not be on the other side of that unless some major shit changes in his world. But he is 100% culpable for what happened. The documentary, I think, did a really good job of showing the true. They showed themselves. The family members showed themselves. I think Sherry is a fucking bad bitch, even though she's still in the church. Like, I don't care. It's not up to me to like decide you should leave or whatever. I think a lot of the things that were happening in the family that was bad were an extension of the doctrine, but she's very young. She may figure that out at some point, and she may not, but she still showed herself to be really strong. The literally only person trying to protect her siblings, only person in that world calling CPS, calling the cops. The neighbors did to an extent try to help, but it was really Sherry that was like trying to get, regardless of the fact that she was ignored over and over and over again by CPS and the police. She was trying to tell them. I think Chad is young and he's defending his dad. Obviously, it's not shocking that he would do that. He probably wants to have at least one parent. And I don't think Kevin is a monster as much as he is a bitch. A cuck? I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with being a simp for your wife unless your wife is beating your children to the point where they're cleaning their own blood off the walls, which is what was happening even before Jodi Hildebrandt showed up. If you watch some of the coverage of that Sherry talks about, also her book, again, I've used it for the season. I've just read it because it's really well done. Good book. Please read her book if you get a chance. Sherry describing the house before Jodi ever showed up Ruby was already beating them and slapping them and pulling their ears and, screaming at them. This was, again, with like the Lori Chad, which Amber and I were on, we're going to be on Side Stories. We already recorded it, but I think that's next week it's coming out. We talk about the connections between Ruby, Franke, and Chad and Lori, who are murderers, who, if you listen to the last podcast, they've been covering them. But much like that duo, I think Jodi and Ruby were that perfect storm where they sort of came together in a perfect way where they both were bringing something to the table and they were also utilizing the idea of, they were rationalizing their behavior based on doctrine. But Ruby was, in my opinion, already primed to do these things. She wanted somebody to give her, she wanted a yes and on it. And Jodi was like, yeah. She was waiting for that moment. So I think the two of them together really were already really deeply disturbed people who came together. And that's the same with Lori and Chad, in my opinion. Yeah, biblically accurate horse. I think they gave Kevin enough rope to hang himself and trusted the audience to have enough media literacy skills to see through his act. I agree. I think if you came in really not knowing the backstory at all and you just learned about this story from it, you might be like, what the fuck? Why isn't this guy in trouble for any of this? But if you do know a little bit deeper in, we're all there already, you know what I mean? And so I really think they did a good job of allowing him to just speak, because I don't think he even understands a lot of, because he is still so deeply indoctrinated into that culture. I think he still finds irrational things rational. And also, they're just, I don't even want to call him stupid, because I don't know that he's a dumb person, but he's encouraged to not think very hard and not use deductive reasoning when making decisions. And so he was so easily, I mean, if you watch this, one of the things that was really very fascinating about the interviews with the family this time is Chad admitted openly, and Kevin, the father, agreed with him that when this was all happening, whenever the family got separated and even after the arrest, they were like, well, yeah, that makes sense. The world's about to end, so the jails are going to open up. They were full in Latter-day Saint extremists being like, yeah, they would prosecute her. I mean, she is writing the next section of the Bible. The pen papers is going to be the next extension, and the world's ending like any day now. That was just their day to day. Like, he was going to, Kevin was a fucking professor, and he was riding a bike to school, and Chad was riding a bike too, but going like, wonder what my lesson plan is today. I wonder if next week the world's going to be, if Christ is coming down, or I'm going to need to come up with a new lesson plan for next week. Like, I'm not sure which is happening first. Like, should I just prepare in case? Christ doesn't come down until like Thursday. Like, is how they were living their days out. That is still kind of where Kevin Franke is mentally. Like, maybe he's a little bit removed from that, but like not really. Some have called me, oh, wait, is that my husband?
Someone calling himself your husband.
Is that, oh, it is him? Oh my God, Uncle Henry Zabrell. Ew, I don't want to call you that. You're so obsessed with me. We haven't seen each other in like 3 days. Hi, baby. I'm coming home soon. Elaine, Eleanor Twit 84. Sherry seems to defend him a lot too in her memoir, but I certainly don't blame her for wanting to have one of her parents in her life. I will say, I do see what you're saying about that. She does, but she does actually, if you read it, she talks about him like he's a child. And I think that's kind of where her mindset is. Like, she literally describes being a kid and like looking at him in the eye and being like, yeah, we're in this together, buddy. She doesn't see him as a father, and she doesn't call him dad at all. She calls him Kevin, and she usually calls Ruby Ruby, not mom. But I think that she is trying to extend grace to him in a way that is also kind of like, you are not a father to me. You are kind of pathetic, but also I see you as a victim. That's how I see her responding to him. Dean Lemur, Nick, thank you so much. My hair's on point. I took a shower. I showered today. And also Penny Lane. Oh my gosh, thank you. Oh, you guys. Oh, don't put all these compliments up here.
And right in a row.
Thank you guys very much. I have to go because No Dogs is coming on. I talked too long, you guys. I talked too long. I don't know. I had other topics I really wanted to cover, but that's as far as we got. I'll leave you. We are getting slow movement, especially due to Sherry's activism. They're not the child protecting laws I want, but I'm thankful that Utah just passed a law that family vloggers are now going to be required to hold money over to their children's. They can only use a certain amount of the money for themselves. And so we'll see how many of those faithful LDS members move out of Utah in the next couple years. I'm glad that's on the right pathway, but just as Sherry Franke said, eventually just keeping your kids completely off of monetized content is the goal. Thanks for being here, guys. This was just sort of a surprise solo episode. Oh, subs. Thank you for the subs. Check Missy, Chimichangas 1959, Hiller Satan, Chimichangas 1959 gifted a sub, and Great in the Sack podcast gifted a sub. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate you being here for my little blab along. And go worship paint. Spend the rest of your night just like thinking about Trump and Jesus together, watching maybe from a Cybertruck.